A current phenomenon is beginning to show in the Philippines, where Filipino society will slowly transition into an aging society by 2030. Yet, as Filipinos live longer, their quality of life does not necessarily improve. A nation with an aging population is bound to face challenges such as rehabilitation, healthcare, and other social issues that need to be addressed before it's too late. Yet, it is also important for the country to start thinking not only of elderly welfare but also their role in community development. Looking into the older demographic in the city of Manila will help give us an idea of the nature and current elderly situation that needs to be handled.
But before the older population is able to play an active role in society, they must overcome hurdles that come in the form of degenerative diseases.
Common ones include visual impairment, arthritis, osteoporosis, dementia, or difficulty in sensory-related activities.
As of today, there is only limited knowledge as to how to deal with such degenerative issues. While professional geriatric care is advised, it is still considered taboo in the Philippines to confine an elder in a care facility. Home for the Aged and Senior Citizen Centers are some of the only elderly accommodations available in the country as of today. However, nursing homes are often interpreted according to the same pattern that defeats the domesticity of it. In spite of the amenities provided, the seniors confined within these facilities more often than not experience seclusion and isolation that further ebbs their mental and physical health.
With this, we thought the existing elderly programs needed a redesign, and so that's what we did. Introducing Treehouse, intergenerational care through architecture of play. Past, present, and future. Birth, life, and death. 3 is the magic number that signifies the flow of life, the interweaving of generations. A treehouse is the idyllic representation of play, growth, and discovery. Treehouse is a playful sanctuary and home that introduces all of this.
We propose an architectural language of social integration that introduces play as the foundation to the regeneration of the Manila community on an intergenerational scale, where programs foster Filipino kin relationships and promote interaction between the Filipino elderly and the youth through sensory stimulation, which simultaneously helps improve the quality of life of these inhabitants.
The existing intergenerational model is based on the idea of one generation filling the gap for what's missing, often leading to only one party benefiting from the interaction. This is partially why the structure of elderly care facilities do not interest the Filipino mass public. The alternative intergenerational model that we are proposing, however, encourages mutual, meaningful relationships between generations, where both parties are able to contribute and gain from the relationship. Seniors are able to improve their cognitive abilities, memory, health, and sense of purpose, while the youth grow in good habits and form a positive attitude towards aging. So how do we simultaneously cater to the needs of each generation through architecture of play?
Memory and reminiscence is a tool that can be used for rehabilitation of the elderly. We have found studies that show that reminiscing positive memories is a method to improve the quality of life of older people by reducing depression, finding meaning, reclaiming their independence, and moving forward with their lives. It is also a medium in which intergenerational dialogues are formed.
Reminiscence therapy for elderly patients and synesthetic architecture are both means to encourage sensory interaction in order to recall memories. While sight and sound cues are the most common, touch, taste, and smell help create more impactful and healthful spaces that are favorable to senior adults. And what other way does sensory stimulation reveal itself in the most natural way other than through play itself? How do you design a space incorporating the benefits of child's play and spirit as its foundation? Whereas society often views play as a childish and frivolous activity, play is actually an engagement that people of all ages and abilities participate in throughout their entire lifespan. In fact, playscapes for elders can even stimulate mental and physical activity, social interactions, and a sense of community. To achieve this, the configurations of the playscape environment should spark the derivation of personal meanings.
For example, to spark youthful memories within the elderly, we looked into Filipino childhood games that have spanned the test of time, from one generation to another. Bahay-bahayan, langit lupa, hopscotch, and patintero are some that come to mind and can be used in the design process. It is also important to note that when preparing for the design process, gathering significant anthropometric and ergonomic data for both abled and disabled children and elderly would help curate spaces that are most favorable and inclusive to them. The next agenda is to apply this onto the site and structure itself.
The Small is Big master plan's emphasis on culture, community focus, social interaction, diversity, and inclusivity is what drew our attention to create the concept for the project. The Treehouse would sit on a special 75 by 48 meter plot of land in Ermita, Manila. The site is located along the Pasig riverfront and has direct access to the sports plaza at its opposite end. This allows for the site's users to interact via public activities by the plaza or enjoy a more secluded and quiet option with a view of the river. Along with this, the site is surrounded by predominantly residential and office topologies, making the community of families and residents the appropriate demographic for the proposed topology.
Because the site is located in a block zone, it is surrounded by road access for vehicles, pedestrians, and commuters. It is then a highly accessible and convenient location that can be accessed easily from anywhere. With this, the site also serves as another main destination for the youth, as it sits between two major landmarks for the younger generation, the skate park and Philippine Normal University. A nearby health institution sits across the site, which can be accessed easily by the users in case of health-related emergencies for children and elderly. Likewise, there is direct access to senior citizen services provided by the Manila City Hall facilities.
All these site details make the site location the most favorable setting to introduce the concept of the treehouse. The form-finding process entailed creating a three-story building to properly accommodate the intergenerational users. Then, in respect to the smallest big master plan's incorporation of green rooftop spaces, an open rooftop space was allocated to be used for the proposed program. After this, an airwell was also created to maximize the flow of natural light and ventilation all throughout the space of the otherwise massive structure. Access points were also incorporated from the riverfront as well as from the plaza and nearby residential communities.
The massing was then angled in order to maximize the views to the river and allow the penetration of only comfortable natural sunlight in the residential units. Terracing was then added in order to provide balconies with favorable views to each unit, a staple feature for the smallest big master plan. Situating a ramp in the central space to serve as the main circulation feature of the structure was the next step before finally dividing the structure into zones to distinguish private spaces from interactive spaces.
There are three distinct unit types the Treehouse has to offer. When you enter the ground floor of the structure, you are met with a courtyard where children and elderly can exercise and play active games and sports. Also situated within the ground floor are the single elderly private rooms with common nursing stations for older people who would prefer independent or peaceful living. These units are placed by the quiet riverfront to provide immediate riverfront access for walking exercises by the water in the early morning sun. Each single bedroom is equipped with an operable perforated door to maximize dynamic visual cues that are provided by light entrance in the morning. The room also provides an ergonomic rocking chair for physical relief and a perforated nook with different sensory stimuli attached that can be interacted with by the elder for reminiscence therapy purposes.
To reach the upper floors, one must then take the central ramp. This ramp acts not only as a liminal space, but offers opportunities for play and interactiveness through its landing spaces, multifunctional walls, and operable window panels. Just like a treehouse, the users utilize the base as a foundation for indoor rock climbing. Its landing spaces contain needs for children and elderly to view the sky and greenery below, and its swivel windows to allow users to interact with one another in a playful manner when walking through the ramp. The ramp is also PWD and elderly friendly. It allows for a viable space for subtle exercise.
The second floor contains both elderly shared bedrooms and special intergenerational rooms, again along with common nursing stations and storage along the hallway. The elderly shared bedrooms are for elders who prefer codependent living with friends or loved ones and displaced by the sports plaza end for a more communal view and environment. This unit contains the same amenities as the previous unit type with the exception of a balcony view to the plaza and caters to a capacity of 2 residents.
Because Filipino seniors are naturally dependent on their children and family, the intergenerational rooms are meant for elders who prefer codependent living with a younger roommate, such as a grandchild. The amenities hold the same as the other bedrooms but include a mezzanine for the children's space inspired by the idea of the children's game Bahay Bahayan. This space includes a lounge net, their own desk, and an interactive sensory push and pull game the children from the adjacent rooms can play with to communicate. Each children's bedroom space has its own operable door that opens to the rooftop. There, the kids can go out and interact with each other outside. When the door is closed, the children or elderly can climb the slope using the rock climbing holds that lead to the elevated portion of the rooftop, where they can enjoy children's games such as patintero, langit lupa, or hopscotch.
Within the rooftop are patches of greenery to act as pocket gardens where the elderly and children can grow their own edible plants to be cooked and served in the intergenerational cafeteria, another program that was created as a response to the taste, touch, and smell senses being the most effective for memory and cognitive development. The cafeteria serves as a communal gathering space where the elderly and children can interact through cooking programs. The counters and tables were also curated towards children anthropometrics in order to provide convenience and inclusivity to both generations. The third floor also contains the necessary geriatric treatment rooms, caretaker quarters, and service rooms.
As we head to the future, we hope to start a discourse through this project about the importance of improving the current quality of life of the current Filipino society and simultaneously bring into light a refreshing take on an architectural language of social integration of Filipino intergenerational relationships.